All right, I'm going to continue the reading of The Foul Rag and Bone Shop of the Heart, poetry and commentary. I have the paperback right in front of me, so this, and good lighting for once. So this is not bad. I can see. All right. This is called The Bones of My Father, and it's by Etheridge Knight. There are no dry bones here in this valley. The skull of my father grins at the Mississippi moon from the bottom of the Tallahatchie. The bones of my father are buried in the mud of these creeks and brooks that twist and flow their secrets to the sea. But the wind sings to me, here the sun speaks to me of the dry bones of my father. There are no dry bones in northern valleys. In the Harlem alleys, young black men with knees bent nod on the stoops of the tenements and dream of the dry bones of my father. And young, white long-hairs who flee their homes and bend their minds and sing their songs of brotherhood, and no more wars are searching for my father's bones. There are no dry bones here, my brothers. We hide from the sun. No more do we take the long, straight strides. Our steps have been shaped by the cages that kept us. We glide sideways like crabs across the sand. We perch on green lilies. We search beneath white rocks. There are no dry bones here. The skull of my father grins at the Mississippi moon from the bottom of the Tallahatchie. That was beautiful. I have to say that I've never read Etheridge Knight, but I think it might be time to read Etheridge Knight for me. That was a beautiful poem. So I'm going to keep trying to find some. This must be a part of the book where they talk about parents, and there are a lot of rhymers here. Here's one by William J. Smith, but I can't read that. I can't read a grown man calling his dad daddy. It's just weird to me. Okay, Robert Bly. I'll read Robert Bly. I'll read this poem. It's called My Father's Wedding. It's from 1924, I guess. I like Robert Bly. He's a translator of. He translated Knut Hamsun's Hunger, which is hands down my favorite novel written. Only the Robert Bly translation. I have added that in to so many conversations, an interview here and there, or a commentary. People always ask me, "What's your favorite book?" And I always answer, Hunger by Knut Hamsun, but you must get the Robert Bly translation. I've read a few intros to and a few first chapters of other translations, and no one hits it home like Robert Bly. He just absolutely, something about his translation was just ridiculously on point. I don't speak Norwegian, nor read it or write it, but the way it made me feel was the best in comparison to the other ones. Not that they're all not good, but there's just a basic language that Bly captures that is relatable, I think, for Americans. There's just something, it's just so non-pretentious. And a lot of times when you translate a language that's older than ours, you can, it can come off as pretentious or just kind of stiff, especially when you translate Russian. But the Norwegian language, that book is so rich with, I can imagine, just from seeing actual Norwegian text, just the feel of the text from the page, it's a lot more involved than English, so I get it. All right, I'm going to read the damn poem. Today, lonely for my father, I saw a log or a branch, long bent, ragged, bark gone. I felt lonely for my father when I saw it. It was the log that lay near my uncle's old milk wagon. Some men live with a limp they don't hide, stagger, or drag a leg. Their sons often are angry. Only recently I thought, doing what you want. Is that like limping? Tracks of it show in sand. Have you seen those giant birdmen of Bhutan? Men in bird masks with pig noses dancing, teeth like a dog's, sometimes dancing on one bad leg. They do what they want. The dog's teeth say that. But I grew up without dog's teeth. Showed a whole body, left on clear tracks in sand. I learned to walk swiftly, easily, no trace of a limp. I even leaped a little. Guess where my defect is? Then what? If a man cautious hides his limp, somebody has to limp it. Things do it. The surroundings limp. House walls get scars. The cars break down. Matter and drudgery takes it up. On my father's wedding day, no one was there to hold him. Noble loneliness held him. Since he never asked for pity, his friends thought he was whole. Walking alone, he could carry it. He came in limping. It was a simple wedding, 3 or 4 people. The fat man in black lifting the book called for order, and the invisible bride stepped forward before his own bride. He married the invisible bride, not his own. In her left breast she carried the 3 drops that wound and kill. He already had his bark-like skin then, made rough especially to repel the sympathy he longed for, didn't need, and wouldn't accept. So the Bible's words are read. The man in black speaks the sentence. When the service is over, I told him, in my arms for the first time and the last. After that, he was alone, and I was alone. Few friends came. He invited few. His 2-story house he turned into a forest, where both he and I are the hunters. Yeah, that's really, really fucking good. You know, I have a friend who, I think he worked in a hotel. I want to get the story straight. I'll give you the gist of it anyway. He went into Robert Bly's room. I don't know why, but I seem to remember he did not like him, or did he like him? It doesn't matter. That was a great fucking poem. Let's see. The portrait. My mother never forgave my father for killing himself, especially at such an awkward time and in a public park that spring when I was waiting to be born. She locked his name in her deepest cabinet and would not let him out, though I could hear him thumping when I came down from the attic with the pastel portrait in my hand of a long-lipped stranger with a brave mustache and deep brown level eyes. She ripped it into shreds without a single word and slapped me hard. In my 64th year, I can feel my cheek still burning. That's called The Portrait by Stanley Kunitz. That's a good poem. I understand that. Oddly enough, I understand that. Or sadly enough, I can understand that. This is called The Core of Masculinity by Rumi, so you know it's gonna be good. The core of masculinity does not derive from being male, nor friendliness from those who console. Your old grandmother says, maybe you shouldn't go to school. You look a little pale. Run when you hear that. A father's turn slaps are better. Your bodily soul wants comforting. The severe father wants spiritual clarity. He scolds, but even leads you into the open. Pray for a tough instructor to hear and act and stay within you. We have been busy accumulating solace. Make us afraid of how we were. Yeah, that's really good. You know, that's really important to me, that piece, because, you know, when I, getting back to all that, when I had my dad, right, hang on, let me get these reflections off the mic because I'm talking into a wooden book stand. My dad was, how do I put it? I was adopted, but until I was 19, I knew one guy as my dad. And so, how do I put it? He was not a very bright individual, full of love, full of generosity, but full of abuse, right? And so when it was a really, and not just, I mean, yeah, physically, sure, but that's easy to get over. But it wasn't bad for me like it was my siblings. But a few times, I wanted to strangle him. And unlike this poem by Rumi, I didn't respect the aspects of abuse that I saw in my home. I didn't accept that it was the right way to treat people, even if they wrong you, especially if they wrong you, because that is where you reflect your knowledge as a man, how you act in the face of fear, in the face of betrayal. What do? Do you get venomous? Do you get passive? Do you get stoic? There's no wrong answer. Unless you hurt somebody else. But I think for me, it's this poem makes a lot of sense to me, because I think that you can carry that discipline inward and not need a father figure to be that. to need that, to have that. So I respect this. This is a great piece of work, and it really made me think and go off the reservation here behind the mic. So that's, to me, what that is, the heart of poetry. It should lift you as much as it should make you reflect on such beautiful and such brutal things. And I think that with respect to the Core of Masculinity by Rumi, I also think that sometimes a parent can teach you a really valuable lesson on accident, which is what not to do. Like, I would never abuse somebody weaker than me, or in any case stronger than me. I would never. I don't even spank my dogs. I mean, maybe like a light tap on the butt if you're trying to hurry them up or they do something wrong, but not even that really. I think silence. I think silence is the best weapon against insolence. I really do. I think silence is the best. If I get really mad, like murder mad, I get quiet. So that's one thing I just decided to do. If I get that mad, I just get quiet and I really think, okay, is this situation really worth it? And apart from self-defense to save you or your loved ones or your pets, I can tell you this, the answer is no. It never, ever is. It's never worth it. The older I get, the more I rebound, and my recourse is always gratitude. It's way easier than anger, and it takes way more heart. This next poem is called The Gift by Li-Young Lee. To pull the metal splinter from my palm, my father recited a story in a low voice. I watched his lovely face and not the blade. Before the story ended, he'd removed the iron sliver I thought I'd die from. I can't remember the tale, but I hear his voice still, a well of dark water, a prayer, and I recall his hands, 2 measures of tenderness he laid against my face, the flames of discipline he raised above my head. Had you entered that afternoon, you would have thought you saw a man planting something in a boy's palm, a silver tear, a tiny flame. Had you followed that boy, you would have arrived here, where I bend over my wife's right hand. Look how I shave her thumbnail down so carefully she feels no pain. Watch as I lift the splinter out. I was 7 when my father took my hand like this, and I did not hold that shard between my fingers and think, metal that will bury me. Metal that will bury me, christen it little assassin, or going deep for my heart. And I did not lift up my wound and cry, death visited here. I did what a child does when he's given something to keep. I kissed my father. Beautiful. It's nice to read a healthy, well-adjusted poet who had a good relationship with his folks, or his old man at least. Okay. This is called The Same Poet, The Weight of Sweetness by Li-Young Lee. No easy thing to bear, the weight of sweetness. Song, wisdom, sadness, joy, sweetness equals 3 of any of these gravities. See a peach bend. See the branch and strain the stem until it snaps. Hold the peach, try the weight, sweetness, and death so round and snug in your palm. And so there is the weight of memory. Wind blown, a rain-soaked bough shakes, showering the man and the boy. They shiver in delight, and the father lifts from his son's cheek 1 green leaf, fallen like a kiss. The good boy hugs a bag of peaches his father has entrusted to him. Now he follows his father, who carries a bag full in each arm. See the look on the boy's face as his father moves faster and farther ahead, while his own steps flag and his arms grow weak as he labors under the weight of peaches. Nice. And this is a poem by Alden Nolan. It's called Only When My Heart Freezes. Only when my heart freezes do I cover the power to hurt an enemy, as you and I can hurt each other, my son, with a thoughtless word, a careless glance, an unexpected departure. You crush your tears in your fists, Every door in the house banged shut, and I too am afflicted, like the refugee orphan who leaves a full table with bread crusts to hide in her pillow. We understand why Johnson gave that terrible shout when Boswell left him without a word and galloped ahead to search out an inn. If you had not come back, I had never spoken to you again, the old man said. The pair of them, half mad like you and me, and night falling in a strange, wild country. Beautiful, beautiful. This one's called Those Winter Sundays by Robert Hayden. Sundays, too, my father got up early and put his clothes on in the blue-black cold. Then, with cracked hands that ached from labor and the weekday weather made banked fires blaze, no one ever thanked him. I'd wake and hear the cold splintering, breaking. When the rooms were warm, he'd call, and slowly I would rise and dress, fearing the chronic angers of that house. Speaking indifferently to him, who had driven out the cold and polished my good shoes as well. What did I know? What did I know of love's austere and lonely offices? Yeah. Wow. I love that respect. The retrospect, but I love that. Just beautiful. Beautiful piece. This one is called My Father Went to Funerals by Howard Nelson. What could my father do? I realized when I was still small that he couldn't build or fix anything, and later it occurred to me that he had no original thoughts. He could tell jokes that made people laugh, keep track of money, mainly other people's, and serve on committees. Not what a boy could care much about. And another thing, he went to funerals, often in the evening, after the commute into the city and back from the city. He went out again, mildly against his will, to the lodge or some church committee, and often it was a funeral he attended. It was a decency he had, I knew that, maybe, but I would not have thought he tended any mystery. I have learned only lately that when you sit in the front row in the eternal weather of the funeral parlor, it is surprising and a relief to see the faces that appear before you and pass by, not far from where he lies. It is a mystery. Maybe the decency itself is the mystery, or maybe we cross from the one to the other, only on a bridge of grief. My father's father died when my father was 23. My father was a man who held the cables, and I have begun to go to funerals. That's really good. How beautifully, how dark but beautiful is it to realize the abundance of the intended and hapless teachings of a parent beyond their death. And this one is called The Distant Footsteps by Cesar Vallejo. My father is sleeping. His noble face suggests a mild heart. He is so sweet now. If anything bitter is in him, I must be the bitterness. There is loneliness in the parlor. They are praying, and there is no news of the children today. My father wakes. He listens for the flight into Egypt, the goodbye that dresses wounds. Now he is so near. If anything distant is in him, I must be the distance. And my mother walks past the orchard, savoring a taste already without savor. Now she is so gentle, so much wing, so much farewell, so much love. There is loneliness in the parlor with no sound, no news, no greenness, no childhood. And if something is broken this afternoon, and if something descends or creaks, it is two old roads curving and white. Down them my heart is walking on foot. Oh my fucking God. Hey, look, so I have read written for decades. And I have to say, that is one of the most beautiful things I have ever read. I need to make a mental note to find Cesar Vallejo and seek out all those works. And this one's called From Memories of My Father by Galway Kinnell. When I come back to my father's house, it will be in any month, though I have loved fall and August and the August moon. and the moonstruck flagstones going to the door. When I come back, someone will be singing in an upstairs room, and I will stop just inside the door to hear who it is. Or is it someone I don't know singing in my father's house when I come back? Nice. So I just happened to glance down at the bottom of the page where the segments of the book are labeled, and it says this part of the book is the House of Fathers and Titans. Okay, good. So I've been reading from the House of Fathers and Titans from the Rag and Bone Shop of the Heart. That's good to know. And this is a really cool part of the book. It's divided up into this. The book says Poems for Men, but I would say this is for everybody. I've said that before when narrating this, but the more I read it, I think anybody, male or female, could glean something from these pages. Speaking of which, this is a poem called The Race by Sharon Olds. When I got to the airport, I rushed up to the desk and they told me the flight was canceled. The doctors had said my father would not live through the night and the flight was canceled. A young man with a dark blonde mustache told me another airline had a non-stop leaving in 7 minutes. See that elevator over there? Well, go down to the first floor, make a right, you'll see a yellow bus, get off at the second Pan Am terminal. I ran. I, who have no sense of direction, raced exactly where he told me, like a fish slipping upstream deftly against the flow of the river. I jumped off that bus with my heavy bags and ran. The bags wagged me from side to side as if to prove I was under the claims of the material. I ran up to a man with a white flower on his breast. I, who always go to the end of the line, I said, "Help me." He looked at my ticket. He said, "Make a left and then a right, go up the moving stairs and then run." I raced up the moving stairs 2 at a time. At the top, I saw the long, hollow corridor, and then I took a deep breath. I said goodbye to my body, goodbye to comfort. I used my legs and heart as if I would gladly use them up for this, to touch him again in this life. I ran, and the big, heavy, dark bags banged me, wheeled and swam around me like planets in wild orbits. I have seen pictures of women running down roads with their belongings tied in black scarves, grasped in their fists, running under serious gray historical skies. I blessed my long legs he gave me, my strong heart I abandoned to its own purpose. I ran to gate 17 and they were just lifting the thick white lozenge of the door to fit into the socket of the plane. Like the man who was not too rich, I turned to the side and slipped through the needle's eye. And then I walked down the aisle toward my father. The jet was full and people's hair was shining. They were smiling. The interior of the plane was filled with a mist of gold endorphin light. I wept as people weep when they enter heaven in massive relief. We lifted up gently from one tip of the continent and did not stop until we sat down lightly on the other edge. I walked into his room and watched his chest rise slowly and sink again all night. I watched him breathe. Ooh, yeah, that was amazing. And this one's called The Irish Cliffs of Moher by Wallace Stevens. Who is my father in this world, at this house, at the spirit's base? My father's father, his father's father, his shadows like winds go back to a parent before thought, before speech, at the head of the past. They go to the cliffs, Moher rising out of the mist above the real, rising out of present time and place, above the wet green grass. This is not landscape, full of the somnambulations of poetry and the sea. This is my father, or maybe it is as he was, a likeness, one of the race of fathers, earth and sea and air. Wow, that was beautiful. I love this line, the somnambulations of poetry against the landscape. It's interesting when you, I have not heard that word in years, and I believe it means to sleepwalk, if memory serves. But to walk while you're asleep, I think. I think so. I'm not going to look it up. I know if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't give a fuck. But I think it means to walk while you're asleep or in dream or something. I refuse to look it up and comment. I might later. I don't want to have any kind of pretense in this channel. But what a beautiful line. Beautiful imagery. beautiful imagery, almost a visage. Not that I have to say this with the magic of editing, I can just leave and come back, but I'm going to break for a refill on my coffee, and I'll be back. Full cup of coffee, fully armed. So, this is Sonnet LXV by Shakespeare, so Sonnet 65. Since brass nor stone nor earth nor boundless sea, but sad mortality o'ersways their power, how with this rage shall beauty hold a plea, whose action is no stronger than a flower? Oh, how shall summer's honey breath hold out against the wreckful siege of battering days, when rocks impregnable are not so stout, nor gates of steel so strong, but time decays? O fearful meditation, where, alack, shall time's best jewel from time's chest lie hid? Or what strong hand can hold his swift foot back? Or who his spoil of beauty can forbid? O none, unless this miracle have might, that in black ink my love may still shine bright. Well, always such an honor to read William Shakespeare, isn't it? I mean, just to recite Shakespeare, it literally transcends your booth, your room, your everything you do. When you recite Shakespeare, it literally becomes living theater. You can't help but be inspired to project with drama and tragedy. It's an amazing experience. I would like to read a whole book of Shakespeare. Maybe I'll submit that for they have these free libraries you can donate your audio to which you can donate your audio. I think maybe I'll do that. It's just it's so cool that you can I'll see if I can't read some Shakespeare. I'm sure it exists already, but maybe they'll let me. And before I go on, this part of the book is called Language, Speaking Well and Speaking Out. And there's some fast quotes here on this page. It's called Thoughts. Poetry is the art of letting the primordial word resound through the common word. That is by Gerhard Hauptmann. I would like to be dishonest and say, I've heard of all these writers, but I have not. This is the first time I've heard of some of them, like Gerhard Hauptmann. I'm kind of embarrassed, but I thought I've read a lot of books, a lot of writers in my time, but maybe I have read sections of them or excerpts, but some of them sound familiar to me. Who knows? All the hundreds of books in the past have kind of blended together. They can, but yet sometimes you can literally cherry pick a line from a collection and go, wait, that is Wordsworth, or that is Hernandez. I say that because they're coming up. I'm just seeing the name. I'm just looking at the names. But before those two, this is a fast one by Samuel Johnson. What is written without effort is, in general, read without pleasure. That is good. Samuel Johnson. That's well put. And this one is by William Wordsworth. Needless to say, I've always thought that was a cool name. Poetry is a spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings. It takes its origin from emotion recollected in tranquility. Ooh, beautiful. All right. This one is called Selections by Miguel Hernandez. The classical poet is one who finds the solution to his life and therefore to his work. The romantic, one who solves nothing, neither in his work nor in his life. Lack of modesty is a romantic vice. It means speaking of the most intimate things, of what only belongs to a few loved persons. Publishing griefs, misfortunes with too much freedom is lack of foresight in a poet. He doesn't let any image or object alone that comes his way. The poet creates in trance as an angel, in moments of crisis as a man. The lemon tree in my garden is a bigger influence on my work than all the poets together. What a fucking pompous prick. I mean, seriously, like I like the inspiration. I like the lemon tree part, but I mean, then all the poets put together, motherfucker, you wouldn't be anywhere without those poets. That's the thing. I'm glad this. I'm glad I read that because, people like sometimes when I used to read Bukowski as poetry when I was a kid, I loved it in his short stories, and I hold a major high number on my list of influences. Ode to Bukowski, ode to Fonte, ode to, Nelson Algren, Knut Hamsun, blah, blah, blah. And I don't know Miguel Hernandez's work, but I know that sometimes a mood can strike you and you can write something like that. But to that poem, I'll say what I said to a lot of Bukowski short stories. So what? You know what I mean? That's my opinion. A beautifully constructed poem, beautifully written. Just, good for you, motherfucker. You don't need anybody. Take a number. You know what I mean? Talk about being a whiny bitch. The contradiction there. Okay. And this one is called These Days by Charles Olson. Whatever you have to say, leave the roots on, let them dangle, and the dirt, just to make clear where they come from. Nice. That also kind of shut me up about my derogatory comments about old Hernandez. But still, I still stand by it. American Poetry by Louis Simpson. Whatever it is, it must have a stomach that can digest rubber, coal, uranium, moons, poems. Like the shark, it contains a shoe. It must swim for miles through the desert, uttering cries that are almost human. I think I've read that before. I think maybe I have. I'm going to keep it in there anyway, because I'm sure that read was probably better than the one I did, but I don't care. I'll leave it in. We're all friends here. And here we have one by Louis Simpson again called The Inner Part. When they had won the war, and for the first time in history, Americans were the most important people. When the leading citizens no longer lived in their shirt sleeves, and their wives did not scratch in public, just when they'd stopped saying, gosh. When their daughters seemed as sensitive as a tip of a fly rod, and their sons were as smooth as a V8 engine. Priests examining the entrails of birds found the heart misplaced, and seeds as black as death, emitting a strange odor. Nice. Now this one's called 21st Night Monday by Anna Akhmatova. 21st Night Monday, silhouette of the Capitol in darkness. Some good-for-nothing, who knows why, made up the tale that love exists on Earth. People believe it, maybe from laziness or boredom, and live accordingly. They wait eagerly for meetings, fear parting, and when they sing about love. But the secret reveals itself to some, and on them silence settles down. I found this out by accident, and now it seems I'm sick all the time. Fuck yes. Anna Akhmatova. I think I love you, so what am I so afraid of? Okay, this is called The Invisible King by Goethe, or some would say Goethe. When I was in English in high school, when I first read him, I was like, Goethe. My teacher was like, Jeff, it's Goethe. I'm like I fucking know. But then, I felt really bad. It's like when you hear someone say Van Gogh or Nietzsche, my first instinct is to correct them, but I don't. You know why? Because who cares? But I'll tell you why Mrs. Anderson cared. It is because she said something to me in the sophomore year of high school. She said, you're going to be a writer. And I laughed because I dropped out of typing class. Back then you took typing class. The whole class had white IBMs. Well, anyway, I'm dating myself, but I like being born in 1970. So I'm not much into fantasy or astrology or anything, but it is the year of the dog. So that's one thing I'll stand behind. Year of the dog, baby. Okay, this is The Invisible King by Goethe. Who rides at night? Who rides so late? The father rides on, his child in his arms. His arms are curled and firm round the boy, who keeps him from falling. He keeps him warm. My boy, why is it you hide your face? Dad, over there, do you see the king? The invisible king with the ermine and staff. Dear boy, what you see is a rolling mist. Hey there, my boy, come along with me. I have the neatest games you'll ever see. On the shore my daisies blow in a line. My mother has shirts all golden and fine. Dad, is it true you don't hear at all the little gifts the king is offering me? Calm down, my boy. No need for all this. It's a dry oak leaves making noise in the wind. Child, good child, do you want to go? My daughters will care and wait on you so. The great circle dance they do every night. They'll sing and dance and tuck you in tight. Dad, it worries me that you don't see the daughters there at that ugly spot. I see the spot very clearly, my boy, an old gray willow, that's all there is. Your body is slim and I love you. Come now, or seize you is what I'll do. Dad, listen, please, Dad. He's got a hold of me. He's done something bad to me. He has. The terrified father rides wilder and wilder. The boy is now groaning as he sits slumped over in grief and fear, and at last the father got home. The boy lay dead in the father's arms. Beautiful. So just so you know, it's probably pretty obvious that I'm reading these cold. I don't read them, then narrate. It's kind of like I'm discovering them with you. I like that. So just in case there's a weird pause or a weird something doesn't feel like it's manicured, it's because it's not. It's raw. And the top of this page is a notation that says, the various civilizations sometimes seem to be various ingenious ways to deny the really terrible powers of life. This is Dark Mother's Scream, all one word, by Andrei Voznesensky. Dark Mother's Scream is a Siberian dance, cry from prison or a yell for help, or perhaps God has another word for it, ominous little grin. Dark Mother Scream. Dark Mother Scream is the ecstasy of the sexual gut. We let the past sink into Dark Mother Scream also. We. Oh, with her eyes closed, woman moans in ecstasy. Dark Mother Scream. Dark Mother Scream is the original mother of languages. It is silly to trust mind, silly to argue against it. Prognosticating by computers, we leave out Dark Mother Scream. How's it going? Dark Mother Scream. Mother Scream, Mother Scream. Okay, we'll do it. The teachers can't handle Dark Mother Scream. That is why Lermontov is untranslatable. When the storm sang in Yelabuga, what did it say to her? Dark Mother Scream. Meanwhile, go on dancing, drunker and drunker. Shagadam, madam, Dark Mother Scream. Don't forget, Rome fell, not having grasped the phrase, Dark Mother Scream. I'll keep it because I just read it. And this one is by Philip Levine. It's called Animals Are Passing from Our Lives. It's wonderful how I jog on four honed down ivory toes, my massive buttocks slipping like oiled parts with each light step. I'm to market. I can smell the sour, grooved block. I can smell the blade that opens the hole and the pudgy white fingers that shake out the intestines like a hanky. In my dreams, the snouts drool on the marble, suffering children, suffering flies, suffering the consumers who won't meet their steady eyes for fear they could see. The boy who drives me along believes that at any moment I'll fall on my side and drum my toes like a typewriter or squeal and shit like a new housewife discovering television, or that I'll turn like a beast cleverly to hook his teeth with my teeth. No, not this pig. That was beautiful. So I will wrap this up with a C.K. Williams poem called It Is This Way with Men. They are pounded into the earth like nails move an inch. They are driven down again. The earth is sore with them. It is a spiny fruit that has lost hope of being raised and eaten. It can only ripen and ripen. And men, they too are wounded. They too are sifted from their loss and are without hope. The core softens, the pure flesh softens and melts. There are thorns, there are the dark seeds, and they end. Okay, with that, I will be spat out of the booth and into the bright sunlight of the humid Tennessee summer. So, thank you for listening. I had a great time reading today, and hope you liked it. And I will talk to you in the brand new video. And as always, take good care.